Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. Today I have my buddy Matt. Buddy, how is it going?
What's up, Jerry? How are you?
Man, we are over the moon right now. Man, I can't believe, this is gonna be our topic. I cannot believe that we actually have a Bon Jovi event to go to again. To have a Bon Jovi event to look forward to. You know,
I-
last time that I saw the band was April of 2022.
yeah, same.
You know,
I'm super excited myself.
Yeah, so it's so for anyone that doesn't know, a new Runaway Trip has been announced, and I'm pretty sure that anybody that's watching this podcast or listening to this podcast right now already knows about the Runaway Trips and probably the new trip that's been announced. But for those that haven't, let me educate you just a little bit. So Runaway Tours started in, I would like to say 2010. It was definitely during the Circle Tour. And the idea of runaway tours is that it's a weekend getaway. And essentially, and they've done it with a few artists. I know I think they've done it with the Goo Goo Dolls. I
Yep.
think Don
Rob
Henley.
Thomas, right? Don
Yeah, Rob
Henley.
Thomas. Yep.
Yep.
And so mainly though, it's always been Bon Jovi trips. And these are trips for the die-hard Bon Jovi fans. Okay. So it's a weekend getaway. And it depends if it's during a tour. I've done trips where it was during a tour where, you'll either get to see sound check or you'll get to see a Q&A intimate perform. Well, on the tours, it's you usually see sound check. There's parties. You get a photo op with John or the band sometimes, which is cool. And sometimes the band will do a small Q&A. That's when they do these trips during a tour. And then other times during John's downtime. These ones are my favorites. Okay. When it's during when there's no tour going on and they just do like, Bahamas, New York City, Florida, you name it. And these are really fun because like they do the welcome parties and but the cool thing is that you get to see John in a different light. And I think as a diehard, you really appreciate that because you see him in a more intimate setting, very small crowd, and it's kind of like very personal. And and John would do songs that he's never done with the band live before. I've seen a lot of deep Bon Jovi songs played at these runaway trips that you would never see with the band. So, they usually do a few trips every year. And obviously, the last one that they did was in 21. I went to the one in June, and then they did another one in October. The one in October, they were able to do the Friday night trip or the first night. And they actually did a Adams Family photo op. So John dressed up in the whole, Lorenza and I think Everett was there. They all dressed up as Adams Family, and you got a photo with John in a Halloween costume. And then Saturday, John got COVID and couldn't do the rest of the Runaway trip. And then, Runaway tours, they made it right. They refunded everybody, and they were good about that. So that's been the last trip. And so that was October of 21. So two, three, we're almost 4 years since a Runaway trip. And I
Yeah.
know you and we've been dying to have another one. I've done several, and I'll tell you this, buddy. And I know this is your first one, and buddy, you are gonna have an incredible time. Some of the best Bon Jovi events that I've ever done were runaway trips. I
Cool.
think just outside of like being able to see John in a more intimate setting, as far as a Q&A and acoustic performance, and the photo op is really cool. Being able to meet John and get a photo. The only official way to ever meet John, by the way. Outside of that, I think the greatest thing about these runaway trips is the friends that you create, between the parties and the events. Some of the greatest people that I've met and became friends with are from these trips. And you'll always leave on that Sunday wishing you could relive that weekend, you know? So for anyone that's contemplating, please go. You'll have a blast here. Um, so anyway, buddy, so let's get to the now. we are excited because you and I we're going to partner up. We're going to do this Nashville trip together. The band Runaway Tours announced yesterday that they were going to be doing a Nashville trip. So the trip is from June 13th to the 15th. A little bit of background before we get into some details, and I
Sure.
will eventually let you talk here, buddy.
I'm itching to go. Go ahead.
Um, so the trip is June 13th to the 15th in Nashville. For any information to purchase your package, go to runawaytours.com. That's the only official place to get these packages. You can't get a ticket to the show only anywhere else. Anywhere else, it's a scam. So before we get into the details, buddy, let's just how excited are you?
Oh, dude, I cannot wait, Jerry. You know, you talked about the Miami trip from 2021, and
Mhm.
um, that one was, I think, was kind of unique because they were actually supposed to do two photo ops with John, one in like a Halloween costume and then one outside. And man, I contemplated going to that one so bad, and I guess it all worked out because they didn't do the acoustic performance, because John got COVID, but. I guess it was still pretty cool, man. I mean, I was really excited and happy that Runaway Tours refunded everybody's money. I don't know if they necessarily had to do that, but
Mm.
because the event wasn't a bust. People still got to stay at the hotel. They still had the party. I think they still had the one photo op, right?
Yeah, so the way they did it was so Friday, and this was rare. They've never done this before, where they did
Yeah,
because usually the photo op was going to be just one day, and that's usually Saturdays.
yeah,
But this trip was special because they were doing a photo op in Halloween costume on Friday,
yep,
and then you were also getting a photo with John on Saturday. But
right,
unfortunately, so they did the photos Friday night, but on Saturday, John got COVID and couldn't
yep.
do the show. Rightfully so. But I still think they did like the party Saturday night.
Okay,
If
they might have.
I did the June Miami trip, I didn't do the October Miami trip. But if I recall correctly, they still did the party and then Runaway Tours, like you said, made it right and just refunded everybody, even though
Yeah,
they still owed for the cater and they owed for the venue
absolutely,
rentals, the hotels. They paid for all of that,
absolutely.
and
Yeah,
every single fan got a full refund.
yeah.
So you know what? That I really respect that.
Oh yeah.
It was really nice of them that they could have just done partial refunds or they could have done,
Sure.
but they made
Yeah,
it
man.
right.
I applaud him for that for sure.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah,
Runaway crew, Matt, Rob, Darren, and just the whole crew. They're all really good guys, and they make sure during these trips that everybody has a good time. They
yeah,
really
dude.
do.
I am so looking forward to it, man. I'm enjoying looking forward to hanging out with you. First and foremost, but dude,
That's
I'm
why you're
looking
doing it, just to hang out with me. I
just to hang
know.
out with you, Jerry. For the people that don't know, oddly enough, we actually had planned on doing a just a guys' weekend the weekend before. So
Yeah,
this worked out perfect. So
yeah,
in Nashville.
yeah. It's funny because you and I, like you said, we were going to go to JBJ's. We are going to go to Nashville for the weekend of the 6th.
Yep.
And go to JBJ's and hang out and stuff. And then the Runaway tour got announced, and it was like a week later. Like, okay, well let's shift these plans just a week later. So, buddy, but honestly, man, you and I we're gonna have a fun time. It's gonna be great to see a Bon Jovi show with you. Side by side.
Agreed. We haven't
And
done that.
and I'm just looking forward to seeing all my other Bon Jovi friends and seeing our favorite band on stage again. We're gonna get into that show here in a little bit. But it feels good to have a Bon Jovi event to look forward to, man.
It
It really does.
it it does, dude. With everything John's been through, and I'm excited that the whole band's gonna be there.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a good show. It's gonna be a good time. I'm happy
yeah,
that John's feeling well, and everybody's looking forward to get back on the
yeah.
stage.
And I want to get into that real quick because you know me. I 100% support and I'm rooting for John. And I think it's great because this by him agreeing to do a runaway trip now and perform because we know that they've been doing rehearsals for the last few years and John's been working really hard
Yeah,
to get his voice to where he wants it. And I applaud him for that. And I think it's great because I think he's starting to feel confident enough to perform in front of fans, diehard fans, because these
Sure.
runaway trips are just filled with diehards. So, and you know what, buddy? I know you and I especially, we're going to be rooting for him during that show.
Yeah, man.
And so he must
You
be
know,
feeling,
and we've kind of talked about this in the past, but it really, I applaud John for continuing on, for wanting to continue on, because I mean, let's face it, they don't have much to prove. They really don't. So the fact that he has pushed through this and persevered and wants to continue on, man, that just shows the fight and determination from the guy. So
yep.
that's I think we both agree that's the reason he's our hero.
Yeah, it sucked not being able to see outside of the whole Forever release when they did release parties, and that was fantastic. And I know you did the Nashville sign-in.
Yep.
That was great. But other than that, we haven't been able to see our favorite band on stage since April of 22, and that's been killing me. So I think it feels great that they're going to be on stage again. And we're going to be able to see that. So for people contemplating on going to this runaway trip, this is gonna be your first time of being able to see the band on stage again, and potentially probably gonna be able to hear new songs from the Forever album live for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, so let's get into some details, and then we'll get into other stuff. But so anyone that wants to look into the information, I don't know if I covered this in the earlier in the episode, but you can go to runawaytours.com. That is the only official website where you can purchase your packages. There's no ticket only to the show or any of that stuff. Anywhere else outside of runawaytours.com is a scam. Um, so it goes on sale Monday, April 14th at 12 p.m. You and I will be ready.
That's right.
Um, so some of the details, let's go into, so I'm going to actually go to the website right now and bear with me. I have to pull it up on my phone. You'd think that I'd be prepared for this.
I
Let's
figured you
see.
had a spreadsheet already.
Well, I do have a little bit of notes here. So if you go to Runaway Tours, you scroll down so you'll see current trips, and you can click on Book Now.
Yep.
So here are some of the details. John Bon Jovi and Runaway Tours join Bon Jovi and Runaway Tours for a getaway trip to Nashville, Tennessee, June 13th to the 15th. So some of the detail, we'll get into the pricing here in just a second, but the details, the trip package includes 3 days and 2 nights luxury hotel accommodations at JW Marriott in Nashville. Check in with the dates. Admission to an intimate private performance with Bon Jovi. Forever party. An autographed photo of John. Special trip laminate, custom event lanyard, special gift. Um, so the hotel gift, they've done some really cool things in the past. I remember on the cruise they did a blanket. Um, I can't think of the top of my head, but usually every trip, the special gift, it's actually pretty cool. It usually has the Runaway Tour logo on it or Bon Jovi logo or says Bon Jovi on it. So yeah, as a
Yeah,
collector for me, I love it.
dude, I can't. I'm pretty. I hate to say it this way, but man, I've done several Bon Jovi shows. This being my first Runaway tour,
Yeah,
dude, I'm excited just for the little knickknacks, the little special event giveaways, the lanyards and that kind of stuff, man. Because I'll have that stuff forever. I'm
yeah.
pretty stoked.
Yeah, man. And I'll show you what I've done. But in my office here, like I'm looking at one right now. I always like because usually John will take a photo on stage with the audience, and then I'll frame that photo and I'll put my lanyard with it. So it's definitely really cool to have. Um, but let's I guess we'll get in. Well, so I know two of the big things that fans are kind of upset about, and I get it. The first one is no photo op. So usually every runaway trip, there's always a photo op with John or the band. The only time that I can think of in the Runaway Tour's history that they did not do a photo op with John was the New Jersey MetLife shows in 2013. Because I almost did that one, but there wasn't a photo op, so I decided to do Vegas a few months later that had a photo op. Why they're not doing a photo op, I don't know because I know like I was reading comments on all the on social media and stuff, and a lot of fans won't don't want to do this trip because there's no photo op. Me personally, I still think it's worth going. Like I said, because we're seeing the band perform again for the for the first time in a long time.
Sure.
So that's a big factor. You know, I would really love a photo op, especially have it with the whole band. You know,
Yeah.
at least with John, David, and Tico. But I love the whole band. And then the next thing is no phones at the show.
Yep.
And I know a lot of fans are griping about that, but honestly, like you and I, we talked about this last night.
Yeah.
I'm kind of okay with that because, like I said, I'm gonna say this a million times. We're seeing the band for the first time in years. I'm kind of just thankful to be there and be able to see them perform. So having our phones put into a locked pouch for the duration of the show, I'm okay
Yeah.
with that. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I mean, I think I speak for everybody. I mean, I would love to have my phone with me, but if it's a good thing too, it forces me to sit there and enjoy the show and not be distracted. Because how many times have we gone to a concert and we're taking videos or pictures and you're distracted. So,
yeah,
you can look at it as a downside or you can look at it as a positive and say, you know what, it's going to force me to sit here and enjoy the moment.
yeah. And,
So
and you know what? Maybe, Rob or they'll have another photographer be at the show taking photos. So we're gonna have hopefully
yeah,
some kind of photo to remember that event by. And I'm okay with that.
yeah,
Um,
me too.
and I'll understand where other fans are coming from about being upset about the no photo op. For me the no photo op is a letdown as well. That's one thing I wish they would add.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. I would like to see the photo op as well. But the fact that I have not done a runaway tour myself, I'm not going to know any different. So I couldn't
yeah,
be more excited.
yeah. I think for me the photo op is like the final special touch to the trip. Having that photo because like I said, there's no other official way of ever meeting the band. It's Runaway Tours that provides that. And I've been wanting a whole band photo for years. So, but we're still 2 months away, so maybe they'll decide to add it later on.
Right?
Um, but I'm okay with the no phones. I get where fans are upset about it, but for me, I'm okay with just living in the moment and enjoying it. Another thing that I'm kind of confused by with the details is, like I said, usually traditionally, this is the way that it goes for most runaway trips. Friday afternoon, you check in, you get your merch, and then Friday night they have a welcome party. Saturday you have the event, you have the photo op, and then you have the Saturday night party, and then Sunday they don't do anything. You just kind of check out and go on your way. But another nice thing is too, because like you and I, we'll fly in Friday morning, and you kind of sightsee the city Friday morning, Saturday morning, and then usually the afternoon, evenings are kind of the things going on with runaway trips. Um, where the hell was I going with this? So on the detail list on the Runaway Tours website right now, it says a forever party at JBJ's Nash.
Yep.
So are they not doing a welcome party? That's my question right now. Because there's only one, and maybe I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, I would assume it would be Friday night, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Or
What
maybe
what I
Saturday during the day.
what I'm guessing is maybe this forever party will be Friday night, and it's like a welcome party. Because it's going to be at JBJ's Nash, which for anyone that doesn't know,
Yeah.
uh, it's a Bon Jovi themed restaurant in Nashville, and you and I we went last year and just fell in love with the place. You saw me, but you as well. We were like kids at a candy store. We spent hours looking at memorabilia. Um,
They have a ton of memorabilia there.
yeah, so I'm excited to go back. So maybe they'll do that Friday night, and then Saturday, obviously, the concert is going to be a secret location, which we'll find out later. But I'm guessing that all the Bon Jovi fans are going to go to JBJ's Nash anyway to hang out after the show.
Of
So,
course.
so maybe that was their method of thinking. Fans just go back to JBJ's and hang out. Um, so let's get into the pricing because I know this is a really uh big thing and it kind of divides the fandom a little bit. The pricing. Um, so the single package, so this means that you'd get your own hotel room, um, is 2295 dollars. The double occupancy room, which means like two people will share a room, and are grouped together for the, if they did a photo op, the concert, that's 1995. Then they have the no hotel option, which is 1750. Now, I know a lot of fans will bitch and complain about the pricing, but I'll stand up, and if I stand alone, then so be it. I actually think the pricing is pretty fair when you start breaking down costs. So let me explain. So I went to the host. So the hotel is at JW Marriott in Nashville, and it's actually a beautiful high-end hotel.
Yep.
Every hotel that they've ever done with these runaway trips are they're five-star hotels. They're beautiful, and you always get the nicest rooms of the hotel. So I was looking, and you like for a really nice room at this hotel is about 500 for both nights. It might have even been per night. So that's
Yep.
$500. So let's add this up. So $500, and then so let's say you had to buy a ticket for the party, which the food is provided, and they usually do catering, and it's always really good food. And their drinks are provided. They have a DJ playing Bon Jovi music all night, and then admission into this venue. I think it's fair to say you're priced at $200, give or take. Um, and then so say now the concert. So you have to get a concert ticket. Okay. I think it's fair to $400 for a ticket to get into the show. Autograph photo. Usually, if they sell something that's autographed online or at the show, it's usually $100. So I put that as at 100. And these are just my rough guess, what would be a fair price to pay for each of these items
Hey, Jerry, I just looked real quick. That JW Marriott for that weekend shows $417 per night. So
per
you're
night.
looking
Okay,
at
so that's
you're looking at $900. You might as well say for 2 nights.
yeah, so perfect right there. So, and then taxes are already included, and Nashville. I don't know if they base it on where they're doing the event. So Nashville is sales tax is 9%. So you're paying about $200 on this package, and it's already included with that. So with me rough guessing what a good price for all these items would be, you're looking at about $1,900. Okay, so so after you break down all the costs, I think it's a very fair price. And you got to remember too, Runaway Tours has a lot of payouts that they have to pay the venue that they're doing that. Now, granted, I know they're doing JBJ's on this trip, but usually they have to pay the venue. They have to play they for this trip, they have to pay the venue that they're going to do the concert at, you know.
Right.
And then the Runaway Tours, they got to pay all the staff members, for working it and stuff. And so there's a lot of costs to it. So, like I said, I think at the end of the day, I think it's a very fair price for what they're charging, you know? So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not ludicrous. I mean, I've been to Nashville enough to know if you're getting a hotel room in downtown Nashville for uh, less than $500 a night, you're doing pretty well because most of them average $400 to $500 a night.
exactly.
So you might as well say with taxes and fees and potentially even parking, if you were to drive and park, I mean, you're talking there's $1,000 right there. So
Yeah, exactly.
um, the fact that the food and stuff's included and the merch that they'll give out. And even the autograph photo. I mean, that's worth something.
Yeah.
Um,
Unless you were to go do your own thing, really, potentially, you and I, like, we could go to this trip and not spend money. We don't have to worry about paying for the hotel. We don't have to worry about buying food at the event or anything. Everything's provided for you. Based on
yeah,
my experiences in the past, and I'm sure that's not going to change on this trip. Um, so I think for me, it's affordable. Now, I do understand. So I think there's a very fine line between fans that aren't able to afford it, and I completely respect it. I know how tough the economy is right now, and I completely respect that a lot of people can't afford these trips. I completely respect that. But then there's negative fans that just downright have never done any of these events and just love to any chance they get to complain, they're complaining. And a lot of these fans that complain about the price have never even done a trip, and they don't see the value, they don't see the worth in these trips. I've done so many of these. I've done a lot of trips. And I'll tell you what, I've never left any of these trips with any regrets. I've enjoyed it, and it's worth every penny. So
Yeah, I mean,
I just want to make it clear that I completely understand the fans that aren't able to go, and it does not make them any less of a fan. You know,
no, of course not.
we're all equal as fans, and just because this group of fans get to go and these group of fans don't, does not make anybody more of a fan or less of a fan. And there's always more trips. You know, they try to do 2 to 3 trips a year. So um,
Y- Yeah, man. I mean, with all that being said, I feel very fortunate that I'm able to go.
yeah,
I mean, I really do, because not everybody can. Who knows what each individual circumstances are, but
exactly.
yeah, I mean, it definitely does not make you any less of a fan. I mean, I haven't been to one, so
Yeah,
I feel like I'm as much of a diehard fan as anybody. Um,
exactly.
so no, I mean, it's understandable if
Yeah,
people can't make it, but um, hopefully for the people that want to go and just can't go right now, this will give them some time to save some money and be able to go on the next trip. Because it looks like
exactly.
this is probably not going to be the last one. So
Exactly. A few other things I want to go over. I tweeted about this stuff, so I just want to kind of go over a few quick points and then we'll wrap up. Let's see. Let me go to my I'm just gonna go to my tweet that I put out yesterday. Okay, so the first one I did was people that were contemplating the runaway trips, and I suggested to do it. I'm just gonna skip through. Let me see here. I'm just gonna read the whole thing because I think it's beneficial for everyone to hear this. For those contemplating doing the runaway trip in Nashville, do it. Don't listen to the negative people that will only say bad things about it. Most of them have never done one of these events and don't realize the fun that they're missing. I have done many runaway trips over the years and have loved every single one and think it's worth every single penny. I say some of my favorite Jovi events I've ever done are the runaway trips, especially the cruise. The cruise was a blast. Some of the greatest Jovi friends that I've ever met and made are from these trips. So we already talked about the price, but just kind of like a quick overview again with the price that you're paying, you're invited to parties that include food, drinks, raffles, contests. Which I'm glad I read that because I wanted to add one more thing.
yeah, I
They
forgot about
do
that.
they do these at a lot of the trips, and as diehards and collectors, I think it's kind of cool. So sometimes they'll have a table set out where they'll have some some items memorabilia that John has owned before, and they'll raffle it off. So John will, for example, we'll take a hat from his collection he's had, and say he wore this cap on the Bounce tour. He'll sign it, and then it's on this table, and you can raffle, which means people can put bids in to win that hat. And then so say, the starting bid's 200 and then, they'll raffle it off or whatever and it becomes $1,000 and you could pay to own this kind of memorabilia, for those that are interested. Sometimes they'll have like a signed guitar and you could purchase raffle tickets and put a ticket in and then they'll pull a ticket and then whoever, they'll announce the name, they win that signed guitar. So that's pretty cool. Um, DJ blares Bon Jovi music all night, hanging out with Jovi friends, and it's just hours of fun. At these parties, celebrating our favorite band, listening to Bon Jovi music, having food, having some drinks, hanging out with friends, good comment. You and I both know this, buddy. Our wives will only listen to us talk about Bon Jovi for about 5 minutes, right?
And then they're
But
done.
at these parties, we'll spend hours talking about our favorite band. So, with this upcoming Nashville trip, we're invited to see the band perform essentially the first time since April 22. And I'm going to say this again. we're probably gonna get to see songs from forever that we haven't seen live yet. Because the only time that they've only played Legendary from
Yep.
forever. So we're gonna get to see a lot of these songs live for the first time. Um, the hotel stay, merchandise and autograph photo. Then I said, if you're a diehard Bon Jovi fan, you'll truly love these events. Um, so I pretty much said the rest of this stuff. So I'm just skip the rest. And then today I put out because I got quite a few messages from some friends that want to do these trips. And I also saw some other friends just, post on socials, some questions. And so I posted some tips just to help people. Um, Packages go on sale Monday at 12 p.m. There is no other way to attend the event other than purchasing a package on Runaway Tours website. Don't
One thing
purchase
we
anything.
might One thing you might want to add, you said go on sales. It goes on sale at 12 o'clock. That's Eastern Standard Time because
Oh,
this
yes,
is Nashville is Central Time, but it is on sale Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
that's a good point. Yeah, that's why I have you on the podcast so you can steer me in the right direction. Yeah, but yeah, thanks for bringing that out. Yeah, 12 p.m. Eastern time. Um, I do recommend for anyone that does not have it. So you go to runawaytours.com. If you don't have an account already, create your account. And I would be logged in 5 minutes before 12.
Yeah, I
Um,
had to actually change my password. I don't know
yeah,
why, but
yeah.
um,
And that's another good point too. If you do have an account already, check your password, make sure you can still log in. And then at 12 p.m., you'll be able to go to the website, click book now. You can pick out which package that you want. If you want single, double, no hotel option. That goes on sale at 12. And another good advice too for a lot of people, call your credit card companies prior to purchasing and let them know that you're making a large purchase. Because the last thing that you want is to go purchase and then your card won't go through because they think it's a fraudulent charge.
yep.
So have that prepared. Um, I was gonna say something else to that. There is potential that this trip could sell. This is the first runaway trip that they've done since October of 21. So it could sell out. So I would suggest to try to purchase these packages on Monday, if not at 12.
Agreed.
Um, you do not need a fan club membership to purchase. In fact, there is no official fan club. JBJ Experience ended a couple years ago, so there's actually no official Bon Jovi fan club. There's no membership that you need other than a free account on runawaytours.com. Um, Look at me promoting all of this. Um, um, there's no photo op. We talked about that. Our phones will be put in a pouch for the show. If you want to follow any updates about this trip, follow Runaway Tours on social media, and you can also sign up on their email list. And the most important thing, buddy, that I think everybody that needs to know about this trip, the most important thing, have fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't know how you can't, but
trust me, buddy. You and I, we're gonna do a podcast episode when we both get home and talk about the trip. But you're gonna leave on Sunday thanking that you went, thanking yourself that you went, and knowing that it was worth every penny, and that you wished you could relive it, and you can't wait for the next one. They're fun. They really are. I don't think I've met a single person that's ever done these runaway trips and left and said they didn't have a good time. Everybody
right.
has such a great time. So, but I'm looking forward to it, man. Um,
Me too, man. I really am.
yeah. And and it's gonna be cool to be at JBJ's Nash again because it's such a cool place of all the memorable. I'm not much of a drinker or anything, so I'll just look around, look at all the memorabilia, and have a good time.
Yeah, they have an online store now, but the last time you and I went, they didn't have the merch
Yeah.
sitting out at JBJ's. So I'm excited to go back to JBJ's myself.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good weekend, man.
Bring an extra suitcase for all the merch.
Oh, dude, I was literally just thinking that it's like, man, maybe I ought to bring like a,
Yeah.
checked bag, which I typically don't do.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, but anything else you want to say about the trip or anything that you think I forgot to mention or we didn't talk about?
No, that's it. I mean, let's hope this is not the last one, but I'm excited and can't wait. This being my first one again, man, I'm really looking forward to it. Can't wait to meet everybody. I'm not the social butterfly that Jerry is, but I'm looking forward to meet other Bon Jovi fans myself. So we're gonna
Yeah,
have a good time.
absolutely. You brought up one good thing I want to mention real quick too. We don't know what's in the future for Bon Jovi. We don't know if we will get another Runaway. Like for me, like I kind of felt like Nashville 2022 is going to be the last Bon Jovi show I was ever going to see. Now, thankfully, we have this concert coming up, but we never know. Will we get more Runaway trips? Will we get more Bon Jovi? Will we get another tour?
Right?
So I'm just kind of enjoying what we get. Live in the moment, enjoy it, and um, I'm
Yeah.
excited though. I'm
Well,
excited.
that being said, I mean, I did look yesterday, and I have not looked today. But this is not even if you go to Bon Jovi's website, this Runaway Trip does not show up on their website. So it's strictly through Runaway Tours. It
Yeah.
is a Bon Jovi event, but you're right. So we may never. This might be it. We never know. So
Exactly. So just go with it and have fun. But
exactly,
anyway, buddy, thank you for coming on. I'm sorry I kind of did a lot of the talk, and I know there was just a lot of key points we had to go over, but
it's all
um,
good.
buddy, I can't wait to do this show with you. We're gonna have a fucking blast, and can't wait, man. And it's so great too. It's only 2 months away,
I
so
know. I know. I'm
good.
I'm excited. It was nice to even come on the podcast and just relive my excitement of when they announced it. So I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to it.
absolutely, buddy. All right, buddy. Let me end the recording. Thanks for coming on, and thanks.
All right.
Right.